Hi, I'm JJ Conway, and I help hardworking women and a few good men build financial confidence and take ownership of their financial future. I'm cheering you on with education on financial literacy, smart investments, and passive income streams. Welcome to Ladies of Wealth.
If you have a question, drop it in the comments, whichever side of the screen your comments are on, drop it in the comments, or you can use the anonymous form at askjjc.com. It takes you to a Google form, and that way you can ask your questions or you can drop them in the chat. Your time is your most precious resource. And so whether you're listening to me live or listening to the recording, I am honored and humbled that you chose to spend your time with me. Some of you will listen to this as part of the Ladies of Wealth podcast after we're done recording live. I encourage you to join us live every Thursday night for another great lesson on wealth building, real estate investing. Right now, we're in the series on Think and Grow Rich, okay? Okay, let's get into the actual lesson tonight. Now, look, before anybody who've not heard of us before, I'm not talking about new agey woo-woo stuff here. You know, when you meet somebody in the grocery store, you say to yourself, I got a good vibe from them. I got a good vibe from them. I got a bad vibe from them. That's the energy that they're walking in. And it's the same for you. Whatever you're feeling, whatever you're going through, that's the energy you're putting out. So please don't hear when I want you to take the energy you're putting out and make it consistent with the dream. I want you to fill that subconscious with the dream so it'll match, so your energy will match the dream and not match the present circumstances. Okay? Please don't hear what I'm not saying. I am not saying make fake memories. We got enough crazy people out there operating on fake memories, all right? What I am saying, the subconscious mind motivates your conscious brain, and it's mainly a collection of emotions. We're not creating fake memories. We're creating emotions of the future we want, which then influences the conscious brain to believe that it's really possible. And the more you engage this memory emotion, the stronger these you can do it emotions get, and they begin to shrink down all the you're not good enough, the past emotions of when you failed in the past. When someone told you weren't good enough, when you got stabbed in the back and you felt foolish, when you made a poor decision and you felt all that shame. These feelings of shame and guilt stop us every time until we learn how to tap into this powerful ability to create new memory emotions that help you overcome. So I'm not talking about fake memories, all right? I don't want you to show up at next Thursday's class talk about how you flew on your private jet to your yacht that you traveled on this weekend, okay? But if that's what you want, if you want the private jet and you want the yacht, then what I want for you is to imagine it down to the tiniest details. Really feel what it's like to fly. What does it feel like to cruise? What are you wearing? What do you smell? Who are you with? Create the future memory emotion. And the more real you make that emotion, the more your whole body starts operating in that energy. It shifts your energy. And when somebody meets you and you're walking in the energy of what you want, that energy will attract people of like energy. You ever meet somebody and you just connect with them right away? Y'all have the same energy. And if you want more out of life, if you want something different out of life, you have to walk in a different energy. And what I'm teaching you today will help you do just that. Okay. You will begin to attract things in your life that are consistent with the results of the energy you are walking with. Okay. Now, we're going to get into this in a much deeper way when we get into the mind and the brain chapter. Let's see. Let me take a look at it. The brain, the mind, and subconscious mind. We're gonna sixth sense. That's what it is. The sixth sense, the brain, and the subconscious mind. Okay. So at the end, we're gonna do those all three as one lesson. All right. And we're going to go into more depth on this, okay? But the idea is you build mental memory muscle using your intellectual faculty of imagination, programming it through autosuggestion, and then doing the 6 steps of desire, reading that card every single day is really programming it into your subconscious mind. We're creating the energy, we're anchoring the energy, we're moving our body into that energy, and we begin to express that energy in our action. And the expectation is that we're going to create that energy in physical form. The entire process of the law of perpetual transmutation of radiant energy is something that we've talked about. These 7 natural laws of the universe, right? It's the way God created the universe. And whether or not you believe in him and whether or not you serve him, if you follow the rules of the universe will work for you. Okay, so if you haven't seen me teach on the 7 laws, the 7 natural laws, look for the bonus Facebook Live I did last year when we taught this class. Okay, so it covers all 7 of them in the deep dive. It should already be in the course. Okay, and if there's enough interest, I'll be happy to do a private session where you can ask your questions about these 7 natural laws, and I can do it. I can teach it again in a private session where you can really dig deep. Okay, so just let me know on that. All right. What we want to understand, again, from the simplest part of this chapter in its simplest form, is that you have the ability to think. You have the ability to think. You have been given free will. You can think negative or you can think positive, but whatever you think, whatever you choose to entertain, by law, that idea is expressed in your subconscious mind. You dwell on the negative, it's going to lodge negative in your subconscious mind, and that's not what all you're going to get out of life. Your subconscious mind accepts any idea placed in it as though it were truth and has no ability to reject the idea. It accepts it as truth and will alter your emotional vibration as though it were true. Let me give you an example. I meant to bring one with me. I actually have one in the fridge and I forgot to bring it. So I'm going to just pretend that this is one. Have you ever watched somebody bite into an apple? When you have somebody who has a lemon and they bite into it, how do you feel? Many of us will go, ugh. Our mouth starts to water. We're not eating the lemon. But we have cells of recognition stored in our mind that remember what a lemon is, how sour it tastes. You know it's tart, you know it's sour, you've experienced that before. You see with your physical senses them doing it, and then you imagine what's going on in their mouth. And as you begin to become emotionally involved with what's going on with them, it begins to be expressed through you. You didn't bite into the lemon, but you're cringing anyway. If I had a chalkboard back here and I scratched my nails down it, even if you couldn't hear it, oh, don't we cringe? Okay, here's another one. Okay, let's see if y'all can hear this. Oh, let me turn that up. Play it. Y'all hear that? We're watching Jaws in a movie theater, air-conditioned movie theater in the summertime, right? You got some soda and some popcorn. There's no sharks, no ocean. You're in the middle of Texas. You are as safe can be. And that music starts up, and then and swim. Well, what are you afraid of? Some of us, the popcorn goes flying. It's a movie. We get so emotionally involved. We will sit in that movie theater. Now, I shouldn't have used that example because I don't actually go to the movie theater anymore. Oh, but we can get sucked in. I do the same thing here at home. We get sucked right in. Our mind experiences as if it was real. Okay. Another one. It's like living in Florida. You're out in the water. You see a big shadow. First thing you think of is shark. And even though you're not sure it's a shark, your body experiences it as though it was a shark or a giant jellyfish. Certainly not the big manatee that just wants to come up and give you a kiss, right? And I saw a ton of manatees when I was in Florida. Well, I don't think I saw any on the beach. I saw them on the other side, on the brackish water or in the river. But I never saw a shark out in the water or a jellyfish when I lived in Florida. Okay, but as soon as we imagine it, boom! It sets our body into this vibrational frequency of shark. You have been given dominion over all things. And think about that as God's promise to you. You have been given free will. You've been given the ability to choose positive or negative. You've been given the ability to choose any thought you want. You've been given dominion over every frequency in the universe, every frequency. If you don't like where you're living right now, at whatever frequency you're on, you can change. Look, you'll never, ever be driving down the road and see a field full of cows, and one of the cows kind of like jumps up on the fence and says, hey, we don't have to be cows anymore. We can be giraffes. Let's change. We can grow and be better. No, they can't. And as far as we know, God only created you and me in his image, and that is to be a causative, creative source. So causative, we impact the world around us, and creative, we create new things. God, when we were made in God's image, God is the creator, and you are a creative being, and you co-create with the mind of God, and you have dominion over everything in God's universe, every single frequency, which means you can at any moment in time choose a better thought. And there's vibrational consequence to the thoughts that you choose. So choose wisely. And this is why you want to get really specific. What do I want? And once we know exactly what it is we want, why do I want it? Why is it so important to me? Because if I know what I want and I know why I want it, I can anchor that emotion into my subconscious mind, and I can turn that into the dominant energy that is expressed through my body. And over time, my mind will become a magnet for that frequency, and I'll begin to attract the people and the ideas and the conditions and the circumstances that are in harmony with that dominating vibration. And I can, at any moment in time, choose what that frequency will be and how intense it will be in my life. And unfortunately, so many of us don't even know we have that choice. We just take what happens. We start off and we woke up on the wrong side of the bed. My child is over there sleeping. His head is all like this on the arm of the chair. I told him to go in his room. He didn't go in his room. He's going to wake up with a crick in his neck. Hopefully I'll pray for him. Hopefully he won't. But let's say he wakes up with a crick in his neck, and then he'll be like, oh, it's going to be a horrible day. And because he's in the energy of a horrible day, guess what happens? He spills his cereal on himself. And now we're late to school because we got to clean up the floor. Because you can't just leave. Look, you can't just leave that milk sitting on the floor, right? So then we're late to school, and now he can't wear his big new Stephenville thing that he wants to wear. And now the day's gotten even worse. And because he's on that energy, it's just one thing after another. And you say, well, I didn't attract the negativity in my life. I guarantee you, if you are walking around, woe is me, and life is stinks, and I just can't take this anymore, and everybody's against me, your subconscious mind is walking in the energy of life stinks and everybody's against me. And guess what it's going to do? Out of all of the information, out of all the hundreds of thousands of pieces of information that it processes, it's only going to filter up to your conscious mind the things that are aligned with the energy you're choosing to walk in. And if you're choosing to walk in, everybody hates me, that's the only energy that's going to bubble up to your conscious mind. You have programmed your subconscious to return that result to you. That's under your control. And how we control that is through autosuggestion, visualization, reading aloud, journaling, being a part of programs like this, listening to the lessons again and again and again, writing, speaking, writing out your dream, speaking out your dream. Remember, life and death begins in the tongue. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was made flesh. You're a very powerful creative being, and God designed you and created you to create whatever life it is that you want, preferably in conjunction with his hand, right? To create the abundant life that was threatened by sin, and he sent his son to set you free from, so you could actually enjoy it and have it despite the sins of your fathers and your mothers. To co-create a life in him that breaks you free of generational curses, of poverty, and transforms them into generational legacies of health, power, strength, and wealth. You don't ever have to settle for less. That doesn't mean there's not a price to pay, and it doesn't mean it's going to be easy, and it doesn't mean that everything's going to be always smooth, and it doesn't mean it's not going to require a lot of work, and it doesn't mean that you're not going to fail. You're actually going to fail pretty miserably all the way to success. In fact, if you were making a big old pot of success stew, you know what you would be the first ingredient to your success stew? The first ingredient you would grab would be a jar of failure, and you would give it a double dose. It's a requirement because failure contains the learn. Failure contains the learn. Failure gives us the tools and resources to take the next step to nowhere. It becomes a directional guide. It becomes our GPS. And how do you know if things are right unless you failed a little bit along the way, right? And so this is really kind of as basic as you can get in autosuggestion. And I want to I want to do an exercise. I think we have enough time. I know this lesson's gone way longer than I intended it to, but I think we have time. Okay, I want you to grab a piece of paper. I want you to grab a pen. Go grab a piece of paper and grab a pen. Grab a piece of paper, grab a pen or a pencil or a crayon, okay? I'm right-handed. I'm going to use my dominant hand, my right hand, because I'm right-handed, okay? I want you to sign your name with your dominant hand. The name you normally sign, okay? With your hand that you normally sign it with. Okay, I'm right-handed. My big boy's left-handed. I don't remember what my little boy is, but whatever your dominant hand is. Okay. Now we all have a lot of evidence of writing with our dominant hand. Okay, so like if I'm doing a book, I've had to train my hand. If I'm writing a book, I use my J's like that. Okay. I used to try and do all kinds of things and I could never figure out something good, but this is my signature. I've got a lot of evidence of writing with my dominant hand. So when I try this, when you try this, you intellectually know what the result is going to be. I'm pretty sure that my signature is going to come out like this a little bit. Okay. Now, I actually modified it a little bit because I'm showing you this online. I don't want you to duplicate my signature. So I had to practice at that, right? But now if you switch the hand into the pen into your other hand, I want you to switch the pen in your other hand and do the same thing. So we're knowing that your non-dominant hand, in my case, it's the left hand. You already know. What are some things you already know? You already know this is going to be a lot slower. Oh goodness, this is horrible. It's going to be a lot slower. It's going to be a lot more confusing, inconvenient, frustrating. And the result is going to be poor and inconsistent. Okay. The result is going to be poor and inconsistent. And the interesting thing is, when I first, at 4 years old, picked up a pen or a crayon or whatever it was my mom gave me with my dominant hand and started to learn how to write my name, it was nowhere near as good as it is now. We have gone through a process to learn how to control a pen and how to do it. And over the years, we've taken that time to develop this programmed information, right, into our subconscious. It became a habit. And now we do it without even thinking. You don't even have to look at the paper to sign your name with your dominant hand. You're doing a conscious action that's in harmony with the habit. So in the subconscious, then it's effortless and you can do it very naturally and speedily and fast without thinking. You can do it while you're thinking of something else. Boom, just write your name. But if the conscious action is not in harmony, now I've switched to my non-dominant hand. If that conscious action is not in harmony with that programmed information, then you need to think about every bit of it. And that takes longer. It's tougher. Okay. Another example is I don't wear a watch because I'm allergic to cheap metal, and I've just over the years gotten a habit of not wearing a watch. And now phones have watches, so I don't nearly need one as much as I used to. Although maybe I'll get a smartwatch, But if you wear a watch on your left hand and you take it off and you put it on your right hand, you're going to find something that, probably within a few minutes, you're going to be looking at the hand that doesn't have a watch to see what the time was. And intellectually, you knew you took the watch off and you know that you put it on the other hand, but it's the subconscious conditioning that takes over when it's a habit. See, it's the subconscious programming that takes over when it's a habit. It's a conscious action, something we're saying, right? Because we can control our behavior with our conscious mind, right? Or I'm going to do this deliberately. I'm putting it on the other hand, right? But when we're not doing that, when we're not actively thinking about it, then it's controlled by habit. And it doesn't have to be a conscious action. This is an a habit is controlled by your subconscious. It's created this learning system of watches on this hand. And now habitually, by habit, you're looking at this hand, even though intellectually you know you moved it to this hand. Okay. So this can be a conscious thought, something that we're thinking. It can be a conscious thought, and it can be a belief. It can be something that we believe, right? This is this automatic thinking. We can believe, okay, I believe the Lord spoke to me and said I was going to make $150 million and I was going to change communities. Okay. I can think that thought, but if I don't repeat that thought enough, it never gets to the habit point where I walk in the thought. And this is the process. The process of autosuggestion is, rather than just letting go of this because it doesn't match and letting go of the dream because it's uncomfortable, autosuggestion is continually upgrading this information. We're not replacing all the information in our subconscious. We're just replacing some of the beliefs that are stopping us from moving forward in the direction that we want to go. And that's the process of autosuggestion. That's what you are doing. And honestly, I don't know if it ever all truly goes away. I remember giving my life to the Lord for real. Not just the little sprinkle they did when I was a kid. And I thought I was okay with the man upstairs, right? But when I gave my life to the Lord for real, and the Holy Spirit came in and took away, just took away certain things, took away a whole lot of my self-hatred, and I've never had to fight with that again. The things that the Lord took away from me that day that he saved my soul, I didn't even know to expect that, because that was not my religious understanding back then. But when he saved me, he took certain things away, and I've never had to fight with them again. But there are other things that come up at unexpected moments. Perhaps because the enemy has really learned how to fight us according to our personality, or maybe I need to continue growing closer to the Lord. I'm not sure. I don't know. But what I do know is that I must allow him to have his complete work. And part of how he works is through autosuggestion, reprogramming your mind by reading the scriptures daily, praying the scriptures daily, assembling together as often as it takes. The preacher will tell you to do these things to create new beliefs and establish new patterns. And they may not even know what it is you're actually doing. They just may know that it works. And what we've covered today is kind of the science behind why it works. Okay. When you speak the word of God over your life, when you listen to music that invokes the emotion of salvation and trust in the Lord, when you're caught up in the energy of the testimonies of the people you're listening to, you are literally reprogramming your mind to accept the good and accept the word of the Lord. It is the same with attracting abundance into your life. I'm going to give you another example. If you believe that every Black woman over 40 is going to be obese and have diabetes and have heart problems, or if you believe that only the lucky few have good health into their 90s, then your subconscious is never going to help you with the fight to maintain your health, because it's hopeless. It's already hopeless. And your subconscious will do what it needs to do to sabotage you on trying to do anything else, because it wants to protect you from spending time, energy, and strength on something that's hopeless. And I'm not just saying this because we have a new sponsor, jjclink.com/make. If you feel like your fitness is hopeless, then you can go out to jjclink.com/make, and you can try out these new bioavailable peptides. It's the first product of its kind. And it's created with the research of AI using all natural resources. It's fantastic. But I already had this in my lesson plan before I found out about make wellness. Okay. But we say, oh, I'm gonna wake up early and I'm gonna go to the gym and I'm gonna work out, and then that alarm comes off and your subconscious be like, we've been through this before. She's going to get all excited for 3 weeks. She's going to spend all this money on cute gym gear. And then she's going to go for 3 weeks and she's never going to go again, because she's going to pull a muscle on the elliptical and she's just never going to go back. And so we already know where this is going. We're going to stop this right now. We're going to nip this in the bud. And that's an emotional thing that's taking a toll on our conscious decision that we want to improve our health. Okay. It is so powerful. I hope you get this tonight. Okay. And that's why I really opened up this lesson to everyone. It was supposed to be a private lesson, and I kept feeling so strongly that these concepts are really needed by God's people. And I want God's people to break free of what's been holding you back for years. I was in the ministry for years, bound by a faulty belief system. It's the one time the preacher can legit talk about BS, right? The faulty belief systems. And we're bound by these belief systems because we don't know we can legit overcome them. It's like the difference between all dogs are dangerous and all dogs can be dangerous. I got bit by a dog after crossing the street, which I wasn't supposed to do at 4 years old, and I believed that all dogs were dangerous. There's an enormous difference between those two statements. One closes you off to all dog experiences. It keeps you safe. Sure, I never got bit again, right? But at what cost? The other phrase, all dogs can be dangerous, makes you cautious and allows you to still live and experience the goodness of some dogs. You're no longer bound by a fear of dogs, you know? So it could be a minor detail, but it can have a major impact on your life. These belief systems. We need to get rid of all that faulty BS belief systems in our head. So now look, you sound like this, you better include the whole passage so people don't think I'm cussing. Now look, I know this program is power packed. It gives you a lot to think about. I know some of you are like, oh my goodness, this was a lot to consider and marinate on. All right. So if you don't already have lifetime access to these lessons, go ahead and go to jjclink.com/TAGR5. That's for Think and Grow Rich 5. It's the 5th year we've been teaching it. And I know in the past I've left a lot of things up on my Facebook or YouTube or anything like that. But lately we've been pulling them down because my storage is getting full. And so now different companies are putting limits on how much I can store. So, go out there and get the access, the lifetime access. You get a downloadable MP3 once all this is processed, and you'll get the handouts. You'll get all the other lessons. You'll get 2 of my personal auto suggestions as a bonus. Okay, for those of you who were on last week, I told you about them. I had enough interest, so I'm moving forward on that. They're processing. They should be up before I finish the class. Okay, the first is my confession list. It's a list of scriptures that I speak over my life about what I aspire to be. And I created it back when I had a hard time praying for 2 hours at noon prayer, and I needed something spiritual to fill the time. I know. I'm just telling on myself all kinds of ways today. All right. I got the idea from Joyce Myers, actually. And it's basically a list of scriptures, and I speak those scriptures over my life. I still take sessions where I speak those scriptures over my life to remind myself of what it is that I feel God has called me to become. And so many of those that weren't true back when I started doing this, they are true today. The other bonus you're going to get is From Here to There. It's a collection of quotes collected by one of my former mentors who helped me start my business. He would listen to them as he drove around from here to there. That's where the title came from. And he was utilizing this process of autosuggestion to reprogram his mind. Okay. So I want you to get that as well. And if you have the time now or soon, I want you to get that access and then go listen to the lesson on faith. The whole lesson on faith is going to be elevated for you now that you've heard this. It's like, I needed to establish your faith before you heard this, but then I also needed you to hear this to get the most out of the faith lesson. So, and all the lessons are like that. Faith, desire, really all of them. Just go back and listen to any of the ones that we've done, and now it's going to come alive. And the reason it'll come alive is because of autosuggestion. Autosuggestion is the gift that keeps on giving. All right. So that's jjclink.com/tagger5. You're going to save $400 on this life-changing content if you do that tonight. And let's see. One of the things, just before I'm going to close, but I want to make sure you understand part of how this works is because now you have cells of awareness. See, when you first heard the lessons, you didn't have any cells of recognition. So now that you've already heard it a little bit, you have cells of recognition. And every time you hear it again, you're building on top of what you've already learned. You are layering the learning. And that's also part of the autosuggestive process. Okay. So remember, there are no limitations to the mind except those we acknowledge. Both poverty and riches are the offspring of thought. So if my thought is going to bear fruit, then I want it to be the abundant fruit that my Savior promised me, the abundant life that he came to give me. John 10:10 says, the thief cometh not but for to steal, to kill, and destroy. But I'm come that they might have life and they might have it more abundantly. Okay. Also, Mark 10:29, because I know some of you watching are gonna be like, you shouldn't be teaching about building wealth. John Mark 10 and 29 and 30 says, Jesus answered and said, verily I say unto you, there is no man that have left house or brethren or sisters or father or mother or wife or children or lands for my sake in the gospels, but he shall receive 100-fold now in this time, houses and brethren and sisters and mothers and children and lands with persecution, and in the world to come, eternal life. My purpose is to equip God's people to walk in abundance here and prepare for eternity there. I am JJ Conway, and I want to thank you for joining me. You can connect with me at JJ Knows the Way. And remember, the only reason I can show you the way is because I have a real relationship with the way. And I'd love to tell you more about that someday. So reach out to me. Let's chat someday. Take care. Be blessed. I'm so happy that y'all were on today. Have a great night and a blessed week.
Don't forget to like this episode, subscribe to the channel, and ask your question at ladiesofwealth.com.